The temple is the devotion place where the people perform the spiritual endeavors. The idea of temples for devotion can be read from the pages of history. Mostly, the sum of the religions like Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism. The temples are pious place for worship their respective gods. There are many mysterious temples in the world which have some unsolved mysteries about them. These mysterious temples are erected over many centuries back or thousands of years. The mysteries about these temples are that how these are constructed. When our forefathers do not have so much of means and no machinery and technology. Let us look on the top list of mysterious temples in the world. Tuksang Lekang is the world's most mysterious temple and ancient landmark. The meaning of the name Tuksang is the tiger's nest. This temple clings impossibly to a sheer cliff face 900 meters above the Paro Valley and is one of the holiest sites in the kingdom. At a cave where Guru Rinpoche used to meditate in the 7th century AD was first built in 1692. It is believed that Guru Rinpoche flew to the site atop the back of a tigress and meditated in the cave for 3 years, 3 months, 3 days, and 3 hours to subdue evil demons residing within it. Ever since, many famous saints have traveled to meditate in it, and the cave has been considered a sacred site. At an altitude of 3,120 meters, Tuksang Lekang is located approximately 10 kilometers north of Paro town. Visitors must trek for around 2 to 3 hours through beautiful, shady pine forests to arrive at the temple. A visit to this astonishing heritage site, no trip to Bhutan would be complete without it. At 1.5 kilometers from Mahabodhi temple and 2 kilometers from Anuradhapura railway station, Jetavanaramaya is an ancient Buddhist stupa situated in the sacred city of Anuradhapura, Sri Lanka. It is one of the oldest stupas in Anuradhapura, located in the Mahamevna Parkand, among the sacred places to visit in Anuradhapura while holidaying in Sri Lanka. At 400 feet, Jetavanaramaya is the third tallest ancient structure in the world and was the tallest stupa in Sri Lanka, built by King Mahasena of Anuradhapura. He commenced the erection of the stupa following the devastation of the Mahavihara and was completed by his son Maghavanna. It is believed that a part of a sash or belt tied by the Buddha is preserved here. Today, this famous mysterious temple around the world is no longer the tallest, but is one of the largest in the world, with an area of over 5 hectares and housing over 10,000 monks. Within the complex, there is a museum known as the Jetavana Museum, which houses various artifacts from the 2nd century BC to the last quarter of the 3rd century. Most of these objects were recovered during the excavation, such as carvings of Buddha statues, guard stones, jewelry, ear ornaments, ivory carvings, bangles, pottery, 3-tiered urinal pot, precious stones, over 300,000 beads of various materials, Hindu and Buddhist ritual objects, Roman and Indian coins, a painted slab of stones, and imported and local ceramics. Behind the museum is the beautiful Buddhist railing, which is a rectangular structure with 4 entrances in 4 cardinal directions. Situated in Cave 16 of Ellora Caves in Aurangabad, India, the Kailash temple is the largest monolithic rock-cut structure in the world. Carved out of single basalt rock from Charanandri Hills, it is one of the extraordinary and mysterious temples of India owing to its mind-boggling carvings, massive size, and amazing architecture. With its intricate designs on panels, monolithic pillars and statues of animals and deities, Kailash temple is an engineering marvel perfect for history and architecture lovers. Constructed in the 8th century, the temple is dedicated to Hindu deity Lord Shiva. The temple stuns every visitor as only one rock has been carved immaculately using only conventional methods combined with many legends. It was built in 18 years using 200,000 tons of rock. Located near Boko Harjo, on the island of Java in Indonesia, Prambanan is a Hindu temple complex dating from the 9th century CE. Prambanan is one of the largest Hindu temples in Southeast Asia and the largest Hindu temple in Indonesia. This popular mysterious temple in the world is dedicated to the Trimurti of Hinduism, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Based on the Vastu Shastra, Prambanan architecture conforms to Hindu architectural traditions, and the temple thus reflects the Hindu beliefs of the cosmos in its design and layout. Despite its grandeur and rich exterior ornamentation, the Javanese abandoned Prambanan within 100 years of its completion around 950 CE. Although the ravages of time and natural disasters took their toll on Prambanan, the Javanese never forgot the ruins, and Prambanan continued to play a part in Javanese folklore. Restoration and research of Prambanan began in earnest in the early 20th century, and in 1991 the temple complex was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is today one of the most visited mysterious temples in the world. Prambanan is located some 17 kilometers 11 miles northeast of the Indonesian city of Yogyakarta, near the border between the two provinces of Yogyakarta and Central Java, on the island of Java. The ruins themselves lie 0.5 kilometers south of the village of Prambanan. The Temple of Heaven is a collection of religious buildings, which was visited by the emperors of the Ming and Qing dynasties, and today by thousands of visitors daily. The temple was opened to the public in 1988, and the temple complex is enormous, even bigger than the Forbidden City. The Chinese emperors were regarded as sons of heaven and thus performed duties on behalf of the gods. It is also the reason their own house could not be bigger than that of gods. The features of this topmost mysterious temple in the world are quite stunning, especially inside the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests, where the emperors prayed twice every year. The circular mound altar is where sacrifices were performed and is regarded as the temple's most important part. Such is the heaven worship culture, imperial vault of heaven, and the palace of abstinence, divine music administration. There are other buildings of importance in the complex. The extensive parklands around the temple serve many purposes. Built between roughly AD 1113 and 1150, and surrounding an area of about 500 acres, Angkor Wat is one of the most significant religious monuments ever constructed. The temple was initially designed and built during the first half of the 12th century on the orders of the then Emperor Suryavarman II. Originally a temple devoted to Lord Vishnu, Angkor Wat gradually shifted from a Hindu center of worship to a Buddhist one in the 14th century. The original name is still unknown since no inscription or foundation stela was found from that time. In northern Cambodia lies one of the largest monuments in the world. Angkor Wat is a treasured Buddhist temple and the allure of the Angkor Archaeological Park. Located 6 kilometers north of Siem Reap, Angkor Wat is considered as the gateway to the ruins of Angkor. This temple is a source of pride and national icon for Cambodia and is also proudly displayed on the national flag. The city of Angkor, in which lies the Angkor Wat temple, was built in the 12th century by King Suryavarman II of the Khmer Empire. The park is making it the largest pre-industrial city in the world and spread across an area of roughly 400 square kilometers. Angkor was a well-established city, and the temples were a part of that flourishing city. This popular mysterious temple in the world among them all was Angkor Wat, which has been rebuilt many times by different kings of the Khmer Empire and later the kings of other dynasties according to their preferences. The ruins of Angkor feels like you have entered a completely different world where the lines of reality and fantasy have become blurred. A beautifully carved temple complex Ranganathaswamy temple is in Srirangapatna in the southwestern state of Karnataka, India. It is said that Lord Ranganatha is an avatar of Lord Vishnu in Hindu religion and this temple is dedicated to him. Do take a minute to notice the beautiful carvings at the entrance of Gopuram of the temple. The complex is surrounded by the river Kaveri, which adds to the beauty of the temple. Before entering the holy temple complex, the ghats of the river are frequented for taking a dip. The Sri Ranganathaswamy temple in Srirangapatna is considered as one of the 5 most sacred and important shrines devoted to Lord Vishnu in Hinduism, and these sites are called Pancharanga Kshetram. Adi Ranga, or the first Ranga, is the presiding deity of this temple. The temple is visited by devotees from all over the world and has a rich history associated with it. This famous mysterious Hindu temple in the world comes under the Archaeological Survey of India. Towering over the Burmese city of Yangon, the Shwedagon Pagoda is rumored to be the oldest Buddhist pagoda in the world. According to the real incident of that time, it is said two brothers were traveling when they encountered the Buddha beneath a tree. Buddha offered them a gift and gave them exactly 8 hairs from his head after feeding him. The brothers then carried the sacred hairs in a ruby casket back to their country where, with the help of the king, they began building what would become the Shwedagon Pagoda complex. When the casket containing the holy hair was opened, the relic unleashed a flood of miracles, including causing the seeing a rain of gemstones issue from the sky, blind to see, and the lame to walk. Many archaeologists have placed its construction closer to 1000 to 1400 years old, but legend believes the pagoda is around 2600 years old either way. The opulent site has survived through war and political turmoil in the area and still looms over Yangon in glittering glory. The large central stupa is covered in real gold plates that are constantly donated from countries around the world as needed. And its tip is encrusted with rubies and diamonds. Head towards the golden stupa that towers over Yangon. You can visit the pagoda during the day and at night because the ticket is valid for the whole day. Shwedagon Pagoda on weekends and middle of the day can get really crowded, so avoid this time. I recommend you hire a guide while exploring this ancient mysterious monument in the world who will explain everything about the pagoda and the rituals, enhancing your experience hugely. You will not be allowed to enter the temple grounds if you are dressed in shorts. You can rent or buy a sarong outside the entry gate. Constructed in the style of a Buddhist temple, the Wat Rong Khun White Temple is a privately owned art exhibit. Popularly known to foreigners as the White Temple of Thailand, Wat Rong Khun is situated in the Chiang Rai province of Thailand. The exhibit opened its doors to the visitors in 1997, owned by Chilamchai Kosapipet. The temple was almost destroyed during the earthquakes of 2014. But now it has opened for tourists again. You will find a much deeper meaning behind this creation by Chilamchai Kosapipet if you look beyond the architecture and beauty of this masterpiece. To reach heaven and nirvana, his masterpiece conveys, and one must overcome the cycle of life and death. The main hall of this most ancient mysterious temple in the world is white in color because it is a symbol of representation for the purity that is represented by Buddha. Besides being painted white, the outside of the hall is decorated with mirrors, to give a message of reflecting on one's wisdom. Borobudur, also transcribed Borobudur, is a 7th century Mahayana Buddhist temple in Magelang Regency, not far from the town of Muntilan, in central Java, Indonesia. It is the world's largest Buddhist temple. The temple consists of 9 stacked platforms, 6 square and 3 circular, topped by a central dome. It is decorated with 2,672 relief panels and 504 Buddha statues. The central dome is surrounded by 72 Buddha statues, each seated inside a perforated stupa. Built in the 7th century during the reign of the Sailendra dynasty, the temple design follows Javanese Buddhist architecture, which blends the Indonesian indigenous cult of ancestor worship and the Buddhist concept of attaining nirvana. The monument guides pilgrims through an extensive system of stairways and corridors with 1,460 narrative relief panels on the walls and the balustrades. Borobudur has one of the largest and most complete ensembles of Buddhist reliefs in the world. Section in order architecture. Borobudur temple. When observed mathematically, there are interesting mystery that leads from number 1. Some of the numbers that were in the temple, when in total the numbers will always produce the number 1. What is the story? Before telling a mystery figure, one needs to know about the level of Rana's Buddhist spiritual in Borobudur temple. Borobudur is the largest Buddhist temple in the world and ranks with Bagan in Myanmar and Angkor Wat in Cambodia as one of the great archaeological sites of Southeast Asia. Borobudur remains popular for pilgrimage, with Buddhists in Indonesia celebrating Vesak Day at the monument. Borobudur is Indonesia's single most visited tourist attraction. Thanks for watching. We will see you in another interesting video. Requesting you to like, Share this video and subscribe to our channel. Search for temples.